All right. So again, I already introduced myself, so I don't need to do that. I am here to tell you my story for a couple reasons. Obviously, I'm not just here to talk about myself, but I've learned a lot on my fitness and nutrition journey. So if you saw on Facebook or the event page for this or on the TV, or grab a look at the TV before you leave, I show you kind of a little bit of my fitness progression and how I went through this. So the reason I want to talk about myself is because I want to tell you that I've been there. And it may not be in the most obvious ways that you're thinking. So I've been there to lose fat. I've been there to gain performance, gain strength, and then eventually gain muscle. Like, what woman says, oh, I want to gain weight? Like, that's kind of crazy in this society. So there's a lot of things that society tells you that I just kind of want you guys to know that I've been there. I've experimented with it myself, and not only on me, but that big guy over there, I put him through the ringer that you'll hear about in my story. So not just experience with women, experience with men as well. It takes time. So if you looked at my picture, it starts actually in 2007. That was my heaviest weight. I was about 168 pounds. So, and I'm going to take you through that journey. But I was heavy there and started to lose weight a little bit, and then we go through all the way to 2015. So like I said, I'm going to take you through that. But things take time, and each step I saw different ways of progressing that depended on the stimulus and what I put myself through. And then it's all about consistency and commitment. So if I just tried something for 2 weeks, how am I going to know if that works? If I'm not committed to it, and I don't actually care, again, it's not going to work. So those are three of the most important things. I've been there. It takes time. You have to be patient. If you want the Biggest Loser weight loss story, it's not what I'm going to give you. And it's not what CrossFit's going to give you, because that's not sustainable. If you lose 30 pounds in 1 week, not so great. And so then you have to be consistent. You have to come to the gym. You cannot just come to the gym for 1 week and take 2 weeks off, but stick to the meal plan that I give you or whatever, and then, be eating the calories that you should be eating when you're working out. So that's why I'm here. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my story, and then I'm gonna talk about a few things at the end, a few tips that you guys can take home for diet and nutrition. So in 2007, 2008, I was in high school. I was the heaviest I ever was. I was diagnosed with celiac disease, which means I couldn't eat gluten. So normally you'd be like, oh, you can't eat bread, like you should be losing weight. But instead I was like, all right, I'm going to have frosting instead of cupcakes, or I'm going to make gluten-free cupcakes, or whatever, ice cream. Like, you can still have bad things and you feel bad for yourself, so you compensate. So again, heaviest I ever was. I played volleyball in high school. I thought I worked out. I went to the Y, like my goal was 4 times a week, but there'd be so many days after school where I just wouldn't go. So I wasn't consistent, but I thought I was. My diet wasn't great. Like I said, I had no idea really what I was putting in my body. I went away to college and didn't have too much to do, couldn't eat much, so I started eating, I wouldn't even say better, just less, and I was starting to work out consistently. So now I started to lose a little bit of fat. As I went through, learned a little bit about weight training. Again, you're starting to see a little bit of that fitness progression. In 2010, so now I'd been steadily going to the gym, working out a little bit. In 2010, I started training for a triathlon. So I decided I was into fitness, so I was running, I was biking, and I was swimming. So now I started to actually trim down a little bit more, but I wasn't really gaining muscle because I wasn't eating right. And my endurance was okay. I did pretty good. I finished the triathlon in less than 2 hours, was super happy. But then after that, it was just kind of, nothing really happened. So then the next year, 2011, I trained for a half marathon. Ran a half marathon, again, less than 2 hours, so I was really excited, but overtrained, didn't eat right, didn't really know what I was doing, followed something in Shape magazine to get myself there, and felt like I was doing the right thing. And I couldn't run. Like, day after the half marathon, I couldn't run anymore, and I was devastated, because if any of you guys are runners, you know what happens when you get that runner's high and then it's taken away. So Chris had started CrossFit about a month after my half marathon, and it was weird. weird because I was always the one that was into fitness, what I'd like to say then, and I really wasn't. And he wasn't really so much. So he got into CrossFit. He's like, you gotta try it. And I'm like, they're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. So he bought me a punch pass for Christmas, and I started going. And so that's one of the pictures you saw. I was 6 months into CrossFit. And for me, my diet hadn't changed too much. It was, I'd come home after CrossFit and I'd eat a gluten-free pizza and think I was doing a good job. And I was like, I just worked so hard. I'm so hungry. I'm going to eat as much food as possible. And I'd go to bed. Like, I'd be exhausted. So, like, I wasn't fueling my body to work out. I was just, it was just a mess. So I started to get more fit. However, my body didn't start to make transformations. I wasn't seeing huge strength gains that I have seen some of you guys make in your first, foray into CrossFit. And I wasn't very consistent when I started. I was like 2 days a week, and then eventually I got to 5 days a week. So I was a little more consistent there. So 2013 rolled around. So I did about a year of CrossFit without changing my diet, just kind of not knowing what I was doing. And someone actually said to me, like, do you know how much you're supposed to eat? And for as much as you work out, you shouldn't look like you do. I was fluffy. So, it's just kind of like you're there, you work out a lot, you feel like you should have definition. I didn't. So 2013, I started this whole paleo thing. I was like, oh, the CrossFitters do it. This is the cool kids on the block. So this is actually my father-in-law, and he would, we'd go over there for dinner once a week, so he knows all about paleo because he would have to make us a paleo dinner with our sweet potatoes and our chicken and vegetables and whatnot. So I did paleo first, about 80%. I was never 100% paleo, but I gave up the grains. I stopped eating white chocolate every day because I was still doing that, like bad habits. Chris joined on maybe like 3 months into me doing paleo, and he started seeing some changes, but paleo didn't give me portion control. I was eating a tub of nut butter. If I made almond butter, it was just like, give me all the nut butter. And it's like your body doesn't need that much fat. It does need fat, and it does need almond butter, but it doesn't need that much. So that's where the diet journey begins. 2013, I started taking Progenix protein. I did a competition, and they were offering a free sample, actually. And if you've ever done a competition, there's like 3 or 4 workouts. And I took a recovery. I'm not even joking. I'm not being salesy. I took a recovery after my first workout, and I actually felt better. Like, I thought after the first thing, I was like, I can't do another workout. I feel like death. I'm going to die. There's no way that I can go to workout number 2. Took the recovery, felt tons better. Was still tired, but felt a lot better. Didn't have that, just droopy, you put your body through a lot feeling. So 2014 rolls around. Chris takes his level 1, and I get into the manual of the CrossFit manual and start learning about the Zone diet. And here's where I first start teaching myself about nutrition and starting to really get into it. The Zone diet teaches you portion control. So I melded a little bit of what I knew from paleo and Zone, and now I'm eating in blocks. It's super complicated. I took a Christmas break to dedicate myself to it, and I took 2 or 3 weeks to weigh and measure all of my food, which I still weigh and measure a lot of my food. It taught me a lot, but if you're not dedicated, if you're not there, you're going to fail. You jump right into Zone because it's just really hard. Chris, again, joined on the bandwagon a couple months later, but I had to do it for him pretty much. I had to be like, here are your meals. Yeah, exactly. Here's your Tupperware. Here's your lunch. How many blocks do I need? What is this? What is that again? And so let's just take a moment. As a woman, I saw changes when I went on Zone, and I started to see some good definition. I started to gain some muscle, and I was like, this is pretty cool. This is where the mind flipped from, I'm not trying to lose weight anymore. I'm trying to actually get stronger. I'm trying to gain muscle. So if the scale goes up a little bit, it's all right, because where I was kind of at, the right weight for where I needed to be, but I wasn't really getting too much stronger. Chris, on the other hand, does it, and it's like that last 10% of what he needed to be absolutely friggin' shredded happens. And he is just like 6-pack and the bicep veins, and I'm over here weighing my chicken, and I'm like, all right, well, this is just never going away. So just to give you a little bit into that, some genetics play into it, but also sometimes men just have a little bit of an easier go of it. So one thing to mention there with Zone, I was eating like 1,400 to 1,700 calories a day.
Which is how many blocks?
So I experimented with 15 blocks,
Yep.
and then I bumped up to 18 blocks.
Yep.
And which I know you're supposed to play with the fat and here and there, so like just playing around with different things. But I bumped up to 18 blocks, which is what I did right before I switched this year into what I'm doing now. And to give you an idea, starting weight was 168 pounds. I went to college, dropped down to maybe 150, just consistently exercising. Then CrossFit dropped down to like 143, we'll call it. And now, as we go into 2015, I sit at 147. So I'm heavier than I've been. I'm eating more than I've ever been, but I'm the leanest and strongest I've ever been. So the beginning of this year, I switched from Zone to flexible dieting, which was a huge switch for me. I was so scared. I was like, I am going to now eat more than 2,000 calories a day. I'm going to eat more than 200 grams of carbs, which you may be like, what is a gram of carbs? So see, as I go through this journey, and I was like, I'm gonna get fat. I'm gonna get fluffy. I'm gonna gain weight. It's gonna be awful. And it's totally the opposite. But it's been from March until now, and I didn't realize until I looked at all the pictures and looked at my numbers and what I was lifting in the gym until I realized how much of a progress that was. So it goes back to it takes time, but like little by little, even yesterday, like I was looking at a picture of myself and I was like, I'm actually starting to maybe finally see abs, which I never thought would happen. Just never in my life. Just never thought I had the genetics for it. And still, like it may take me another year to, but I'm okay because, like I PR'd my back squat recently. Like those are the things that I'm now starting to think about as important, but I fuel that with what I eat. So, again, like I said, now I'm eating more than 2,000 calories a day, which most women are like, oh, well, I thought you were only supposed to eat 1,200 calories a day, and, you're supposed to starve yourself, because that's the only way that you can lose weight. But I am here to lose fat, preserve, and gain muscle. So, that's a little bit of my story. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of key takeaways for things that I've done, but things that you could go and implement. It's really silly to say, and like I swear they teach you this in kindergarten, but you need to eat your fruits and vegetables. So Kyle talked about having a good balanced diet and supplementing that. You need like 8 to 10 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. That's not just an imaginary number that like is out there. Like every time, if you eat 5 times a day, which I recommend most people do, you need to have 2 servings of fruit and vegetables at every single meal. So you need to have a couple cups of spinach or kale or whatever. So I had a breakfast that had no veggies in it a couple months ago. And I started adding kale or red peppers to it because I needed it at every meal or I wasn't getting what are called micronutrients. I wasn't getting my vitamin C, my vitamin A, potassium, calcium, like all those things that you need to actually function properly because it's not just about eating carbs, protein, and fat. It's about getting your micronutrients and your minerals. So one important takeaway. Protein. You need to eat this consistently throughout the day. So if you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, most people are getting some protein at those meals unless you're just eating pasta. Or if you're vegetarian, you may struggle and you need to find those other ways of eating protein. But the other 2 meals, not snacks, meals that you should be eating in between those need to have protein in it because your muscles are made of protein. Your muscles need you to eat protein in order to continue to build it up because it's the one thing that your body's really not making on its own. So you need to be eating a consistent source of protein to build your muscles. If that makes sense. Okay. Eating every 3 to 4 hours is ideal. You don't need to just eat protein 24 hours a day to get the best results. So every 3 to 4 hours is really the top of that. You don't need to have 8 meals a day, 5, 6 meals, depending on how long you're awake works. Protein doesn't really vary on activity level. It varies on your lean mass. So how much body fat do you have? So that will change. If you're on a big weight loss journey, that'll change every 10 or so pounds. But the other macronutrients, carbs and fat, that changes based on your activity level because that's how we find our calorie balance. Let's talk about fat myths. So fat like the food you eat. So Every person that we talk to, they're like, yeah, I'm on a low-fat diet, or like, no, I don't eat fat, or like, you eat butter? I have butter every single day. Grass-fed butter in my coffee every single day. I have coconut oil every day. I eat bacon almost every day because you need fat to, A, feel satiated, feel full. You need fat for good brain function, all sorts of crazy things. It's also anti-inflammatory, and most of us get our fats from omega-6, so vegetable oils, which omega-6 is still a good fat. You need to have it, but most Americans are at like a 20-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. So that's why when I was talking about omega-3 fish oil, you need to add in the fish oil because we physically just cannot eat enough of it to get where we need. So adding in the fish oil, but then making sure that you're eating the nut butters, you're eating avocado, coconut oil, the healthy kinds of fats. You want to get those into your diet as well. And then lastly, I want to talk about post-workout nutrition because most of us here are CrossFitters. You want a 2-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein after you work out. So a lot of you guys are doing a protein shake. If you're doing the Progenics Recovery, that has about 22 grams of protein in a shake, which means you need about 40 grams of carbs, which is like adding some coconut water and a banana to your post-workout meal. And eating within that 1 to 3 hour window right after a workout is ideal. That's how we repair the muscle immediately, build it back up. And eating those carbs right then goes towards building up muscle and not being stored as fat. Because if you guys know, if you're eating extra calories, whatever it is, it's being stored as fat. But if you're eating something right after your workout, your body is just going and burning and chugging. So if you feed it with the right kind of stuff, that's where you get muscles. So good stuff there. So you can take and run with some of these things, but every person is different. Even if you were identical twins and you weighed the same and you wanted the same goals, most likely you're going to be different. Your journey is going to be different. If you have fat loss goals or if you have weight gain, muscle gain goals, your nutrition plan would be different. It's just hard to navigate that yourself. So that's why I'm here. I do meal plans for people. You don't have to count calories. You don't have to eat exactly what I tell you. I give you ways of looking at things so that you can eat and plug and play and work with it and track and just find success on your own. Find new habits to live by that you change the way you live instead of living on a diet. So I just want to end with a couple things. I didn't mention when I started taking Lurong. So I started taking Lurong in 2014 for the injury that stopped me from running. And I was able to do box jumps again. I was able to run in workouts. I was able to do double unders. I have tendonitis in my shoulder that occasionally flares up. I load up on my Lurong because I take it consistently now. I load up on Lurong and the shoulder starts to feel better. Like it's some kind of voodoo, crazy magic, but I'm not going.
And I've always said, even if it's placebo,
right. I don't
dude,
care.
it works.
So
Take placebo.
Yeah, if I had to only take 2 supplements for the rest of forever, I would take fish oil and Lurong. That's what I take every day. That's what I don't want to miss. I do take a couple other things like a multivitamin and probiotic. But if I had to, like, those are the things, if I stop taking those, I don't really see the difference, whereas the other ones I see the difference. Sorry.
Unfortunately, you're a freak of human nature.
So.
And can I piggyback on that?
Yeah.
I tore a ligament here and a ligament here at the Pump Games like 2 years ago. And my orthopedist finally sent me in for a picture, and he comes running into one of my teens classes, because I'm literally doing this, hobbling around. And he comes in, he's like, you should be in a boot. You shouldn't even be walking. I'm like, well, it's not going to work because I have competition this weekend, and then I have 2 weekends after that, 2 weekends after that. I ended up faking it all the way through these competitions, all the way through the Opens. Incidentally, won all the competitions and qualified or individual for regionals, but competed all the way through torn ligaments in my leg and recovered in 8 months. And my surgeon was like, that doesn't happen. He's like, that didn't happen. I'm like, well, yeah, it did. Look, I double undering, box jumping, and running. So you can still get hurt taking Lurong, but you heal so quickly. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question on your nutrition.
Yeah.
One was pre-workout, what do you like to eat, drink? What do you like to do before workout?
Okay.
And 2 was, do you recommend everyone buying a scale when they start their a food scale?
Yep.
Throw away your body scale and get a food scale when you start your journey. Those are my 2 questions.
Sure. So for pre-workout, for me, and this is where it comes in, where this is different for everybody. I would not recommend this for everybody. I am so performance-based that I want to make sure I'm fueling my workout. So I do protein and carbs before a workout. Try to avoid fat.
How long?
Before. So it depends on my day. So if I need to eat, I have no time, I need to eat right before my workout, I will do like a baby food packet of straight carbs. So like spinach, mango, pear is one of my favorites, pineapple or banana or something immediately before a workout. But typically I like to eat, I'd say 90 minutes before a workout, and I'll do a couple of eggs with, which, eggs have fat, obviously, but I'm just not adding fat. So a couple of eggs with a chicken sausage, and I will do oatmeal with, I like to do blueberries or raisins or something like that. And that's just straight up gluten-free oatmeal, no mix-ins, no sugar, and that's about it. So I try to carb load a little bit before, but I do most of my carbs after. So if I can get 70% of my carbs for the day within the hour and a half before to the 3 hours after my workout, that's my goal.
And you started talking about flex diet.
Yeah.
Do you use Ackerman's Fitness Pal?
Do
you log food on your phone?
Yes. So I do my Fitness Pal. I log my food every day.
Have you gotten compulsive and neurotic?
It's happened. So
I'm there.
Yes.
My wife told me, shut up, we're at dinner the other night. I'm like,
yeah.
So how many cups of that do you think you put in there? And she's like, I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
She's like, I refuse to. But it makes a huge difference. If you're accountable to the Fitness Pal, I'll plug the challenge again. If you're accountable to the challenge, if you're accountable to the 24-day challenge, if you're really focusing in and you have a reason to go in, and I love the example, if anybody ever been to Michael Jordan's Steakhouse and seen that garlic bread tower that they have, right? Like, is there any reason to not eat that unless you have celiac, right? And even if you have celiac, you're like, I don't care, I'm eating that. But if you're on a challenge, if you're doing my Fitness Pal, if you're logging, you go, that is going to destroy my macronutrient wheel. Do you guys know what I'm talking about with my Fitness Pal?
Yeah.
It's the app that's on your phone. At the end of the day, you get a weekly pie chart. Sometimes my wife looks like she ate pie for her pie chart. All the time. But it splits it up in your macronutrients and what you've got and what you're logging. All of a sudden, you realize that you had a 6-egg omelet, and you're never going to break that fat thing back down under 50% all day. You have one burger that's 81, 19, and your fat thing goes like this. It's half your pie chart. How did I do that? If you're accountable to it, then you realize that, no, you don't get ice cream after dinner because you're already way over your pie chart.
Yeah.
And it's on that flex diet. You really want to try to hit your numbers. I don't know are you going to go into this anymore?
No.
You want to set up for your goals, and I'll just talk until you shut up.
No, you're
because I love nutrition.
Yeah.
You're going to set up your goals when you go into one of these things, and for me, I like to be 35% carbs, 35% protein, and what's the rest of it? 30% fat. Girl at our gym, who old OG CrossFitter, Lauren Plumet, has about 6% body fat. And she eats over 50% of her diet is fat. That's how she runs. And that's what fuels her body. That's what she eats. For her, that's perfect. She's been dialed in on that for years, and she is shredded. Everybody's a little bit different. Some people like to stay real low fat. And please don't eat, and I know you're probably going to say this, don't eat low fat dressing, don't eat low fat anything. Anything that says low fat on it, the fat has been replaced by something that they've concocted in a laboratory. Yeah. Don't eat it. Don't drink diet soda. Well, don't drink soda. Don't drink diet anything. Anything that's been messed with in a lab is not natural. It's not going to fuel your body. You want to eat whole foods. Jump back on the challenge. Can I step back in? The challenge, quickly. Our challenge is set up. There's 3 dietary levels. One is basic, eat more whole foods, more protein. The middle level is get rid of all your grains, your artificial sweeteners, your glutens, everything that is in there that's really going to stifle performance. Then the pro level is basically green vegetables, nuts and seeds, and dead animals. So you can pick your level and stay true to that all the way through the 5 weeks of the challenge. it'll really set a basis. And then you can look at it and go, oh, I know that's not great for me. I can add this back in. I can add this back in. A lot of times if you break it down for just a month or 5 weeks of really strict eating, then you add back in one thing at a time. If you take all dairy out, you take all sugars out, you take everything out, and you're going to get crap. Your first week, 10 days, when you take sugars out, we had somebody start taking Lou Rawling at the beginning of the challenge. And there was like 4 women that called us, and they were like, this stuff makes me so nasty. None of that. We were like, oh. We started talking to them, we're like, did you take all the sugars out of your diet? Well, yeah, I haven't had any sugar in 2 weeks. They're like, yeah, Lou Rawling's not making you nasty. Sugar detox. It's a big deal. When you take that out of your body, your body's going to respond. But also, you're going to crave that, and you're going to fight through it. If you have MyFitnessPal, if you have a challenge, if you have a reason to go, no, I'm going to be okay. It's going to pass. You know, especially like January when you've got tons of leftover fruitcake and M&Ms and all the cookies that haven't been eaten yet from the holidays. If you're on a challenge, if you're logging your food, you have a reason to go, no, I'm going to pass. Yeah. How many times have you gone to eat something and been like, I just don't want to own those calories?
Well,
I'm just not.
I look at it and I'm like, oh, I don't have room for that today. Or if I know that I have something coming up, I make accommodations for it, because you can't live and be like, I'm never going to eat a sugar cookie a day in my life again.
That's why it's flexible.
Exactly, that's why it's flexible. So it's not, if some of you guys have seen flexible dieting where it's like, oh, I'm going to have a donut every day, it's like, that's not what it is. It's more like...
Flex Diet gets that rep, too.
It does.
Where you can't eat donuts and bacon every day.
To post the donut than it is to post the, the kale and the eggs.
Yeah.
So I try to get all my micronutrients in, and then I usually have something left over at the end. That's why that works for me, whereas Zone was just a little bit too rigid. And plus, I like to be able to carb load for my workouts, which you really couldn't do with Zone either. And
so I have a little snacky snack that I make every night. It's like protein powder and PB. Do you know what PB Fit is? They dry out.
To combat disease, right? So just think about that. It's not just about, it's good to look, it's good to have muscles, but, you want to make sure that, if muscles aren't your motivation, that health is, right? So be very patient with your fitness journey, and if you're not seeing what you think you should be seeing, you have an excellent resource. Mary, this is how I've set up my MyFitnessPal. I've been doing this for 5 weeks now, and I'm not seeing what I think I should be seeing. Okay, well, she'll sit down and help you break down maybe why. Okay?
And if you look at that tablespoon.
Yeah, that's a bucket. So just, use the resources that are available to you. You can always adjust your percentages. You can adjust your calorie intake. And it's something that you should be looking at, on a weekly basis, right? Maybe every 2 weeks. Weekly probably if you're in very beginning, very start, because your body's going to go through some changes quick.
Yeah.
If you make those changes initially, and then as you start to learn, you can space it out a little bit more. But just remember, be patient. It's fun. It's exciting. I created like a video game out of my fitness pal. It's like I had to hit my macros. So it's
Yeah.
like 8 o'clock.
It's
I'm like,
exciting
all right,
game.
what can I throw together? I gotta get some raspberries, and I gotta
Right.
get this, you know. So it's
Seriously.
you turn into a
Yeah,
game
it's
that's
like a
fun.
little mishmash shake. So I'm going to touch on two things to answer your second question about weighing and measuring, getting a food scale. I do not recommend that for everybody because there are some people who would take it too far and then they go overboard, and then Friday night comes and they're like, I am going to go to the bar and I'm going to have 3 margaritas, an entire tray of tacos, and whatever. So there's that reason. There's also some people, they are so far from knowing that they just need to eat veggies and protein,
Right.
that is, but there are people who you start them and then it's like, all right, now you want to dial it in, you want to lose 3% body fat, that's going to take really dialing it in. Now we need to weigh and measure our food. Now we're not just looking at the palm of our hand, but we're saying, all right, how much does this chicken actually weigh? How much does the steak actually weigh? What kind of steak is that? How much fat is in this, you know? How many grams of sweet potatoes am I getting? Because that's an easy one to be like,
Sweet
oh yeah,
potatoes
I'm
that are like
totally
the
just
size
have,
of
I'm
meatballs.
gonna have like a half a sweet potato, and now you've had 60 grams of carbs where you should have been having 30. So I just wanted to touch on that. I'm gonna touch on the challenge that Dave mentioned one more time. We are doing this as a gym, so not saying like you have to, but like I'm doing it, Chris is doing it, Avery's gonna do it. We are signed up and ready to go. It's 5-week challenge. We would like everyone to participate. You guys are going to be doing the workout anyway, so there's a workout at the beginning and a workout at the end because you're testing your performance. It wouldn't interfere with anything that you're doing with me. I could actually help you do better on the challenge to win prizes and whatnot. So I just wanted to plug that. Final thing is that with the with my nutrition package, I can only take 4 new clients every 2 weeks. It's the amount of time that I have to spend on it is a lot, and it's only fair to the people that sign up that everyone gets the same amount of dedication and focus from me. So if you do want to sign up, you just need to put yourself on a sign-up sheet and at least reserve a spot if you can't get within like right away. Okay. And so then if you do sign up for the nutrition package, you're going to get 10% off of any of our supplement products that are $20 or more. So none of the little stuff, but anything that's $20 or more, you'll get 10% off for the duration of your nutrition package. And so signing up today, this month, you will get 1 extra week on any nutrition package that you sign up for. So we can't really discount the price because we really price this competitively because we want to be able to give it to you. But we are allowing you guys to add an extra week on. So if you do the Kickstarter, you get an extra week of support from me, any of the 3 packages. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up. You guys have been sitting on your butt for a long time, and you're probably ready to move around. So Kyle, Dave, and I are here for you guys to ask questions. Chris knows things too, so you can ask him questions. So that's it.
Yeah, please, if you have questions, ask these guys. I'm sure there's something burned in the back of your head. If you're just curious, they'll talk your head off about with their product. If you're interested in purchasing it, they'll be sure to help you out with that. So please talk to these guys.